We're joined now by Vanessa Blair-Lewis, who is the head basketball coach of the women's team at George Mason University. They have been playing basketball, Division I basketball, at George Mason for 44 years. This is the first time they are in the NCAA tournament, advancing by winning the A-10 tournament over St. Joe's. And Vanessa, I know you've been coaching a long time, over 20 years, but what does this mean to you to be the first to take George Mason to the NCAA tournament?
Oh, it's just, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It is exciting. It's what we set out to do when we took the job, being a young lady from the DMV and having an opportunity to come back home to George Mason. We knew it was a daunting task, going from 0 wins the year we came in the conference, and having the audacity to believe big enough to win championships and hang banners. A testament to my staff, a testament to these young ladies who have been very resilient. We hung a banner in our practice facility in my first year that said "Future A-10 Champions." And, a lot of people are like, why are you hanging this big banner in here? And I'm like, because sometimes you have to see it to be it. And so every day they come in here, I want them to know this is what our future is. It's not in the past. It's not what we've been. It's what we're trying to become. And so it's very exciting. It's what we planned. It's what we dreamed. Obviously, all things a lot of times have to fall into place for amazing things like this to happen, and the support staff from our administration. And I think we all know administrations win championships long before the coach is hired, because there has to be that level of dedication and support of the program. So I thank my administration, too, for believing big with us.
It's funny you say that about hanging the banner. I assume you know Jim Larinaga, who really put George
Yep.
Mason basketball on the map. And he tells the story of the team that he took to the Final Four. And, it would have been a ridiculous thought at the beginning of the year that George Mason could make the Final Four. But his friend Bob Rotella, who is a sports psychologist, asked his team to dream. And one of the players said, our dream is to get to the Final Four. I mean, what you're talking about there is a very similar thing, right? I mean, you'd never made the tournament before, and early on, off a team that wasn't very good, you said, we're going to make the NCAA tournament.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've done it at 2 institutions that had never been. The
Yeah.
last institution I was at, Bethune-Cookman, they had never been. And I think it's less a lot of times about, not just having the talent, but you have to have a mindset. Like, champions have a mindset. You ever listen to any of Kobe Bryant's interviews or LeBron? There's a mindset that goes along with the talent. Obviously, there has to be that level of talent. But the mindset has to be there. And I remember reading the book Relentless with a couple of my players, and just the mindset that goes into wanting to be a champion, it's different. It is. It almost seems illogical to people on the outside.
Yeah. I read where you were the daughter of a coach. Was your dad a coach of boys or girls in high school in Largo?
Oh, he was the girls' coach, but he's coached everybody. But yeah, he definitely was the girls' coach. I come from a family of basketball players. Adrian Branch, my first cousin, played at Maryland, played for the Lakers. Ted Jeffries, Christy Winter-Scott, a whole legacy in the DMV of just playing basketball. My dad didn't work at the school. He was down at Department of Housing and Urban Development. He worked with the mayor getting housing for people in the city. And so when the janitor didn't want the job, my dad stepped up. And, sometimes back in the day for the women's coach or the girls' basketball, it was just the math teacher or someone who just wanted an extra stipend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't have anybody step up when the PE teacher that was the coach prior decided to retire. No one the whole summer stepped up to want to coach us, not even the janitor. So my dad said, I'll do it. And I said, no, please don't do this. Those are my friends. And he started there, but then I graduated. He stayed for 15, 16 more years.
Wow.
Because he felt a physical responsibility to give back to the community and pour into young women. And he's put over 200 women in a position to get scholarship to go further their education.
Of course, you went on to a great career at Mount St. Mary's. And I just wonder, in growing up in that kind of basketball royalty that you talked about, your family and others who played basketball, I guess there weren't a lot of participation trophies, that the expectations were pretty high for you growing up.
Absolutely. I'm the youngest of four, so I knew very early on I was never going to play basketball because I would sit and watch the conversations at the kitchen table after wins, after losses. I would watch the practices. I would watch the early mornings. I'm like, where are y'all going at 6 a.m.? We're going to run. Dad's going to take us to the gym. I'm like, I'm doing a whole nother sport. I don't want to have any parts of this. Um, but you're right. The battles on the court, just my sisters and brothers were outside playing, and we're not coming in until we win. And mom's like, dinner's getting cold. And dad's like, nope, I don't care if it starts raining. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. So you're right. We grew up in a very competitive household. And then, like I said, with my dad as my coach, if we won, I could, get the keys to the car and $1 million. If we lost, I'm answering for everybody's mistake till midnight.
Wow, wow. Looking at your bracket, you get started on Saturday against Florida State. I know coaches don't like to look ahead, but this opportunity that you might have in round two, playing LSU in Baton Rouge. I mean, you got to be thinking. I guess you have to stop yourself from thinking, but when you talk about dreaming big, I mean that's an opportunity that could really put your program on the map.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can't get past round one. FSU is very formidable under Brooke. She's done a great job taking over for Sue Samurai. We're going to have our hands, we're going to have it cut out for us on Saturday. But like you said, should we get by that? Yeah, this is what the madness of March is all about.
Yeah.
Like, you throw out the regular season, you throw out whatever you were before. It's a one-game season. It's one game at a time, and you win and you advance. And I think if you take a group of women into a tournament and you're happy to be there, then you get the happy results. You get the consolation prize and you go back home. But when you take a group of women that believe they should be there and that they're ready to play and they want to strap up and put their shoes on and go against anybody, I think those are the results that may turn out to be in your favor. And that's how we're going out there. We're not going out there to come back home on Saturday.
There you go. We're talking to George Mason basketball coach, Vanessa Blair-Lewis, who has done a terrific job there getting them to the NCAA tournament. Before I let you go, we talk about your background and playing and how long you've been involved in the sport as a coach. It has taken a giant step forward in the last few years. Do you have the ability to communicate to your players who are young just where this sport used to be, where the coach used to drive the team bus and wash the uniforms, and how they are now in a it's not quite equal to men's basketball, but it's taken a giant leap forward. Do they have an appreciation for that?
I think we are prehistoric to them. When we tell stories about what we used to have, I think it sounds like every parent who's trying to tell their child, when I went to school, I walked 3 miles in the snow. That's, I think, how this comes off to this generation. It's an exciting time. I think for the people who can appreciate it because we've lived in a different environment, it's awe-inspiring. And I think just how the community has embraced women's basketball, especially with, even last year, Iowa and LSU and just all of the women's basketball, Asia Wilson, that have come up, and the attraction to the sport. I'm not so sure it's necessary for them to have to know what it's come from, although you speak about the history, whether they can relate to it or not is not as important as to us to keep growing this game, to keep pouring into these women, to keep giving them the advantages and the resources to compete.
That's been very exciting, very interesting to watch. Best of luck to you down there, and you know what this town was like 19 years ago. It's a long way to go to the Final Four, but as you say, if you can't dream it, it can't happen. So best of luck to you along the way.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Vanessa Blair-Lewis, who is the basketball coach at George Mason. They're in for the first time in school history. They went to Division I in 1982, and they're finally in the NCAA tournament playing Florida State on Saturday night.